Section 1. The kindness trap. Kindness is a virtue, but like fire, when misused or misunderstood, it burns instead of warms. The Stoics knew this. They taught that virtue must be wielded with wisdom, not weakness. When you give too much, too freely, and too often without discernment, you're not seen as kind. You're seen as naive. People begin to expect your sacrifice, not respect it. Your silence becomes permission. Your generosity becomes a weakness they believe they can exploit. In today's world, we romanticize kindness, yet we ignore its dark underbelly. Because when you're always available, always agreeable, always giving, you slowly erase yourself, and no one notices until you're gone, or worse, until you're used up. Stoicism teaches us not just to be kind, but to be strategically kind, to control how, when, and to whom we give our warmth. True Stoic kindness is firm, boundaried. It has a spine. So in this video, you will learn 10 ways that misapplied kindness can destroy you. And more importantly, you'll learn how to reclaim that kindness, sharpened with strategy, tempered by wisdom, and fueled by inner strength. Section 2. When kindness becomes self-betrayal. The most dangerous form of betrayal isn't what others do to you. It's what you do to yourself in the name of being a good person. When you suppress your needs, when you tolerate disrespect, when you smile while your soul screams, you're not being kind. You're abandoning yourself. Stoics believed in harmony, but not at the cost of truth. They spoke of living according to nature, which includes your nature. And your nature wasn't made to be everyone's doormat. When you constantly put others first, not out of strength but out of fear, fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of not being liked, you're not giving, you're negotiating, you're trading pieces of your dignity in silent hope someone will notice and repay you. But they won't. Why would they? You've taught them that your time, your energy, your empathy comes cheap. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, don't be ashamed of needing help. You have a duty to fulfill just like a soldier on the wall of battle. In other words, even the emperor knew that self-preservation is not selfishness. It's your foundation. And without that, you crumble. Section 3. The narcissist's favorite. Target. Kindness, when unguarded, is a lighthouse for darkness. Not the kind that seeks help, but the kind that seeks control. Narcissists, manipulators, emotional leeches. They don't chase strength, they chase access. And what do you think they see when you're always available, always forgiving, always agreeable? They see someone who won't fight back, someone they can mold, someone they can drain. Seneca once said, a good character, when established, is not easily overthrown. But what if your character has no boundaries? What if your compassion becomes compliance? Then you're not strong, you're vulnerable in the worst way. Understand this. To a narcissist, your kindness is currency, but it devalues the moment they realize it's endless. And once they know you'll keep giving, no matter how badly they treat you, the game begins. They push, you yield. They lie, you forgive. They disappear, you wait. They return, and you welcome them like they never left. But inside, you're empty. Not because kindness failed you, but because it was misused. weaponized against you by someone who saw your empathy not as beauty, but as weakness. And unless you awaken to this, it will keep happening. Section 4. The slow death of resentment when kindness is forced. When it's given to people who exploit, ignore, or insult it, it doesn't purify you, it poisons. Silently. Resentment is the rust of the soul. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It whispers every time you say yes when you mean no. Every time you bite your tongue to avoid drama. Every time you comfort others while your own heart breaks in silence. You keep giving, they keep taking, and deep down, something inside you begins to rot. The Stoics warned us of this internal decay. Epictetus taught, if you want to be free, learn to say no, not out of cruelty, but clarity. A refusal rooted in truth is worth more than 1,000 smiles laced with bitterness. You see, when you give too much for too long without boundaries, you don't become enlightened. You become enraged. But it's a quiet rage, one that turns inward. You don't explode. You erode. And the worst part, the people you bent over backward to help, they won't even notice. They'll forget. They'll move on. You'll be left alone with your broken pieces and a hollow smile that once meant sincerity. Now just masks suffering. If you don't regulate your kindness, it will slowly suffocate the very self you're trying to protect. The solution, simple, but not easy. Give with discernment. Speak your truth early. Say no without guilt. Love others without losing yourself. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. Section 5. When kindness becomes a magnet for abuse. Here's a dangerous myth. That if you're just nice enough, patient enough, giving enough, you can heal broken people. But broken people don't always want healing. Some want company in their chaos. And when you're overly kind, they see you as the perfect companion, not to build a future, but to survive their own destruction. At your expense, you offer support. They offer excuses. You show empathy. They show entitlement. You try to understand. They weaponize that understanding to manipulate, guilt trip, and drain you. This is how the kind become casualties. Marcus Aurelius warned, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. But what happens when your kindness is used to protect the very person who's harming you? You're not turning the other cheek. You're turning yourself into a shield for their dysfunction. Here's the brutal truth. Some people will abuse you because they know you won't leave, because they know your compassion outruns your common sense, because they know you fear confrontation more than you fear self-destructs. But this is not Stoicism. Stoicism does not mean tolerating abuse. It does not mean enduring mistreatment in the name of virtue. It means seeing reality clearly and having the strength to walk away. When that reality threatens your peace, your dignity, or your soul. So the next time you feel that familiar sting, that subtle sense of being used, guilted, or played, pause. Ask yourself, is this kindness, or am I just enabling my own destruction? The answer will set you free. Section 6. The manipulation of the martyr complex. There's a certain kind of pride that hides in the shadows of extreme kindness, the martyr complex. It tells you, you're the strong one. You're the one who absorbs the pain so others don't have to. You're noble because you suffer in silence. And for a while, you believe it. You let yourself be used, drained, disrespected, all under the illusion that you're doing something sacred, that your suffering makes you morally superior. But that's not virtue. That's vanity disguised as sacrifice. It's a subtle form of self-deception. You start to think that your value comes from how much pain you can endure for others. That, if you just keep taking the hits, one day they'll realize how good you've been. That they'll finally change. Finally love you. Finally say, "I'm sorry." But they won't. Because martyrdom rarely inspires respect. It breeds dependence. The more you hurt yourself to help others, the more they expect it, and the less they value you. Seneca warned us, "He who suffers before it is necessary, suffers more than is necessary." When you play the martyr, you're not just inviting pain. You're worshipping it. You think you're being strong. You're being controlled. And the controller is your own ego. Real strength isn't in how much you can suffer. It's in how clearly you can see the game and refuse to play it. Kindness doesn't mean burning yourself alive to keep others warm. It means learning where your duty ends and their responsibility begins. Give. Yes. Care. Absolutely. But do not confuse martyrdom with meaning. They are not the same. Section 7. When kindness masks fear of rejection. Sometimes, what we call kindness is really just fear in disguise. Fear of being disliked. Fear of conflict. Fear of rejection. So instead of saying no, we say yes, again and again, even when it costs us time, energy, or self-respect. We allow others to cross boundaries because we're afraid setting them might push people away. We overextend ourselves, hoping they'll see our worth. We smile when we're exhausted. We help when we're hurting. We agree when we want to object. That isn't kindness. That's survival. It's the silent agreement. If I keep them happy, they won't leave. But here's the truth. The people worth keeping in your life won't leave because you said no. They won't love you less because you stopped overgiving. They won't crumble because you finally drew a line. If they do, they were never there for you, just for what they could take. Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." If your kindness is built on the need to be accepted by everyone, you're not being yourself, you're being a performance, and performances are exhausting. You weren't born to please everyone. You were born to stand for something, to walk with clarity, to give with intention, not obligation, to serve with heart, not fear. When your kindness is rooted in self-respect, it empowers. When it's rooted in fear, it enslaves. So next time you feel yourself saying yes, just to avoid discomfort, pause and ask, am I being kind, or am I just afraid to be honest? Your courage to answer that question will change everything. Section 8. Overgiving as a tool of self-erosion. There's a silent danger in giving too much. Not because generosity is bad, but because overgiving often isn't generosity at all. It's self-erasure, a slow, quiet form of disappearing. You start with small things, skipping your own needs to help others, biting your tongue to avoid conflict, saying yes to things you resent. And soon, You've built a life centered on everyone, but it looks noble. It feels kind, but it's corrosive. You become the person everyone depends on, but no one considers. You're the strong one, the reliable one, the one who always has it together, and no one thinks to ask, "But how are you doing?" Because you trained them not to. In the name of being helpful, you made yourself invisible. Marcus Aurelius warned, "A man should be upright, not kept upright." That means strength must come from integrity, not from performing the role of savior for people who take but never return. When you constantly overgive, you weaken your own foundation. You neglect your own growth, your own peace, your own direction. And the more you give to others without giving to yourself, the more resentment brews underneath your kindness. Until one day, that kindness curdles into bitterness. That's not stoic. That's self-betrayal. So ask yourself, is your giving mutual? Is your care returned? Do you replenish what you spend? Because real kindness isn't the depletion of self. It's the overflow of a healthy soul. Protect that soul, or you won't have anything left to give. Section 9. The cost of avoiding accountability. Through niceness can become a mask. It hides what needs to be said. Behind what sounds pleasant, we say things like it's fine when it's not. We say don't worry about it when we're seething inside. We avoid confrontation under the guise of being the bigger person, but in reality, we're just afraid to be disliked. Afraid to create tension, afraid to hold someone accountable. But here's what Stoicism teaches. That discomfort is the price of truth. That clarity is an act of respect. And that letting someone continue to hurt you without consequence is not virtue. It's cowardice. Seneca once wrote, "He who is too busy to take care of his own well-being is a fool." But many of us are too busy protecting others' feelings to protect our own dignity. We think kindness means silence. But in the absence of truth, silence becomes betrayal of ourselves and of the people we could have helped grow by being honest. Holding someone accountable doesn't make you cruel. It makes you responsible. It says, "I value this relationship enough not to lie." It says, "I care about myself enough not to accept less than I deserve." And most of all, it says, "I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to be real." If someone walks away because you told the truth, let them. Better a truth that pushes someone out than a lie that traps you in. Kindness without boundaries is submission, and submission wears a smile, but suffers in silence. You're not here to suffer. You're here to live with clarity, courage, and conviction. Let the weak call you harsh. Let the fake call you cold. Let your own soul call you free. Section 10. When kindness delays your own evolution. The final, and perhaps most dangerous way kindness can destroy you is when it slows down your own transformation, because in the name of being kind, you stay in environments you've outgrown. You tolerate people who drain your potential. You silence your ambitions to keep the peace. You choose comfort over growth. You stay small so others won't feel insecure. But what does the Stoic do? He walks forward, even if it means walking alone. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Growth isn't loud. It's not always celebrated. It often looks like betrayal to those who benefited from your stagnation. And sometimes, kindness is the chain that keeps you stuck. You want to leave the job, but you don't want to disappoint your boss. You want to speak your truth, but you don't want to upset your family. You want to evolve, but you don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. So you wait and wait until years pass, and you've built a life that's polite, but powerless, pleasant, but empty, kind, but utterly disconnected from who you could have been. The Stoic doesn't do that. The Stoic sees time as sacred. He understands that peace bought through self-neglect is not peace. It's a slow death of the soul. There comes a moment where the kindest thing you can do is walk away from the people who only loved the version of you they could control. From the life that made everyone else happy, but left you hollow. From the illusion that kindness means never prioritizing yourself. Your evolution will require offense. It will require tension, boundaries, rejection, change. But the life you're meant to live, it's on the other side of that fire. Step through it. Closing message to viewers: if you found strength in these words, give this video a like to fuel the message. Drop your own original motivational quote in the comments, something that reflects your journey, your battles, your truth. And don't forget to turn on notifications, because we're just getting started. This is Stoic Life, where your peace becomes your power, and your silence becomes your justice. See you in the next one.